And welcome to another session of Let's Get Real with Mona, where I share stories and teachings to inspire you into action to turn your dreams into reality. So, welcome. Can you believe it's the last day of January? Yes, a whole month's gone by. How has your January 2022 been so far? Now, for some of you, it may have been a bit slow. You may have felt that it wasn't moving as fast as you would have loved for it to move. And for some people, maybe they didn't want it to move at all. So, where do you feature in that range? Well, for me, I knew I had to take it slower. And yes, what sometimes happens is that when we're asked to slow down, well, some interesting and exciting things can happen because our whole system, our whole being doesn't know how to slow down in January because the rest of the world is saying go, 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 because you've come out of an old year into a new year, and it's as if we should all hit the floor running as soon as the new year comes in. But I found that when I slow down, well, then I get to see what's really happening around me. So, this past month, we've focused on designing your abundant life. We've looked at the foundational steps before we even set goals and why it's so important to implement these foundational steps before we even think of what it is we want to create for ourselves in the new year and the years to come. And yes, we looked at the process of reflection. We looked at the power of intention. We looked at the power of clarity. And we looked at conscious goal setting. And I'd love to know how all that has worked for you up until now. You see, because we can't just do one thing and expect everything to magically appear for us. Our lives, our entire existence is dependent on so many different little components that have to be aligned, to come into alignment before something shows up for us. And I guess that's why I love the whole thing about the alchemy of abundance, because we are like little scientists that go out and we have to bring in different components before we can turn metal, lead into gold. And I'd love for you to look at your whole life like that, because it's not just one thing that turns lead into gold. There's different components before we can create that amazing, abundant life that we so desire to experience. So how has it been for you so far? Have you attempted to do something new? I mean, after all, it is a new year. And yes, if you are one of those people who set your goals already in December or on the 31st of December 2021, then how have you been doing with it? Have you been in flow? Have you found that some of the foundational steps that I may have spoken about and shared with you, whether that was part of your process of designing your abundant life for the new year? And did you go back? Did you look at some of the steps and incorporate it into designing your life? Now, one of the other things that I'm doing this year is introducing a quality each month. And as many of you know, the theme for this month, for January, has been kindness. So when we think about kindness, I mean, what comes to your mind when you think about kindness? Now, some people may not even understand that there's abundance is more than that which we just bring to us. It's not just what we accumulate, it's not just what we have. But that abundance is about how we feel, how we give, how we receive, how we are in any given moment, how we choose to be, how we choose to create, how we choose to experience life, how we choose to do life. You know, it's not just about the having element of it. When I talk about having this, it's all about the physical things that we want around our life, all about the accomplishments that we want to achieve. Abundance is so much more than that. So when we look at the quality of kindness, now, I mean, I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have been taught whilst we've been growing up to be kind to others. But like, what does that even mean when you say to a child, be kind to others? Were you explained what kindness actually means, or did we just emulate what others did? But for me, it's about being compassionate, it's being sensitive, it's about being there for others. Now, this is going to be an interesting one for you because we've always been taught to be kind to others. And you know me, I love looking at other things as well, not just about others, because we are a whole being. And we can't just live our life doing for others. We have to think about ourselves as well. But let's just focus on that aspect of what kindness means generally in society. It's about what we do for others to make their lives better. You know, for me, that's the real test of kindness. When we can go out and we can do something that improves someone else's day, someone else's life, who they are, what they become, just because of something that we may have done. And did you realize that when you do an act of kindness, you know, when you perform an act of kindness, that you feel connected to the other person and the other person or feels connected to you? And did you notice that people are more willing to cooperate with you when you're kind rather than someone who's pushy and bossy and inconsiderate and insensitive? Have you noticed that? Well, I have. In my own family, I mean, I can get people to help me when I'm kind to them rather than when I'm pushy and bossy. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that as well. And very often, you see, for me, kindness must be a deliberate act. It must be someone that we become. It's part of who we are. It should be a lifestyle choice to be kind. And you'll understand why I'm saying this. Because it is a quality of abundance. Because think about it. Kindness is a frequency. It's a high vibrational frequency. Because when you're kind, you give to someone else. It doesn't matter what you give to the person, whether it's your time, your energy, your expertise, you share your skills, you share your money. And that in turn gets returned to you energetically. So you feel good, the other person feels good, and you feel good. Or whether you're giving it to animals, or whether you sharing your kindness through your generosity to the environment and what you do, whether you are being considerate to the environment with the products that you use and how you may be recycling, or how you eat, how you show up every day, what type of vehicle you use. Maybe you're using, environmentally friendly vehicles. So we can be considerate and kind. We can be kind to anyone or anything, to Mother Earth for that matter, right? Because that's how far kindness extends. It's not just to another person, including ourselves. Now, when you think about the fact of the contagiousness of kindness, have you noticed that when you're kind, you tend to see other people who are kind, Then you see other people who are extending their generosity, their consideration to others, because that's exactly how it works. And it's if I'm kind to you and you're kind to someone else, and it goes on and on and on, it's that ripple effect. That's how we get to make this world a better place for all of us to be in. Because it's not dependent on one person to be kind and then suddenly the whole world changes. No, it's for each and every one of us. And if we just chose every day to do something for someone else or for ourselves that expresses this kindness, imagine what this world would be like. Everybody would be vibrating in this frequency of kindness. So, when you look at kindness, what are some of the ways that we can be kind? And we're going to look at others firstly, right? Do you know that when we are kind to others, the focus is on the other person? Because the whole thing about kindness is it's not about us. Now, sometimes people can go out there and act like they are kind under the illusion that it's kindness. But the whole point of kindness is that the focus is on the other person. It's about making that person feel good. And it's a beautiful space to be in. You take the focus of you and you put it onto someone else. You're giving the other person attention through your kindness. And this is it. When you're coming from a place of compassion and you extend that kindness to someone else, the other person feels that because you don't have to do much. Even if someone's talking to you, if you give them your undivided attention, that person feels that connection from you, right? Have you noticed that when someone has extended that type of kindness to you, when they put the focus on you, how do you feel? Well, I know I feel good when I've got someone's undivided attention. Now, the other way that we can express kindness is by doing something like helping someone else, not just focusing your attention on somebody by giving them the time of day or whatever, but by doing something for others, right? How often are we told to do random acts of kindness? And what I love is this whole thing, and tell me if you've ever done it, where you're standing in the queue, maybe going through a toll gate or a grocery line, and you pay for someone else's toll fees, or you pay for someone else's grocery, or you're in a restaurant and you pay for someone else's meal. Have you done that? Because it's really, really, really such a joyful experience, because that's what kindness does. It brings to you an experience that you cannot even really explain in words, but you do know that your vibrations just shot up because you've been able to put a smile on someone else's face. Right? You can help someone at work. You can help to finish off a project for someone, or finish off something because someone has to go off and early to do something that's important to them. Maybe it is to go visit a relative, a sick relative, or maybe it's to go watch their child doing playing some sport at school. Or maybe the person just wants to have an afternoon off. And because they've been putting in the hours, you could see that they're really, really challenged. And just extending that kindness to do something for them could be so magical for them. Now, have you ever held a door for a total stranger? I mean, I know my husband does that all the time, and you must see the look on people's faces. It's almost like, "Oh, me? You actually doing that for me?" Just do that sometimes. It's really, and it doesn't matter whether you're a male or a female. I've done that many times for people as well. Or even when you're going through a door, even though you may have been there first, but you can see somebody else, has come in a flurry, just that little kindness to say, okay, there you go, you can go first. It just lights the other person up, because in this world that we live in, so many people haven't had the experience of that kindness. So you just offering someone a parking spot. Maybe you were there first, but you realize that someone else came and you don't mind parking a little bit further and walking because you love walking. So little things like that. It may just seem random to you, it may just seem insignificant to you because it may seem that small, but for someone else, it could be a pretty big gesture of consideration, because that's what kindness is. It's being considerate to other people. Now, the other thing you can do is, how often do we just listen? How often do we just listen without wanting to find a solution? And my son loves teaching my husband and I about this, because as parents, we want to fix everything. So when your child comes to you and your child wants to share something with you, what's the first thing we do? Instead of listening, we want to fix the problem, or we think it's a problem. But sometimes all the person wants is for you to just listen, because think about what happens when we listen. When we're listening, we are being present. When we're listening, we're not wanting to find a solution. When we're listening, we are allowing ourselves to fully focus on the other person. So notice how these things come around in circles. When we're listening, we're helping someone else find their solution. And this is the beauty of these abundance qualities. They help you address so many different things just by doing a simple act. And like I said, if we just focus on kindness, imagine that every single day. Another thing we can do to express kindness is, how often do you send someone like a little goodie bag, or goodie package or care package or whatever it may be called in different parts of the world? Whether it's a candle, whether it's a bunch of roses, whether it's some snacks that you know that somebody loves having, but just something to say, I thought about you. You could send it by a post, or maybe you can just go drop it off. A little gift. And for me, the person who's taught me about kindness, about just doing random acts of kindness, has been my husband, Vis. Somehow, he got this right from a very long time. I didn't know how to be kind because I thought would be imposing. I didn't see kindness as a strength. I saw kindness as me allowing other people would then take advantage of me. And that's why I didn't willingly and openly show kindness, because I was afraid of that, because I didn't understand boundaries at that time. So I was having my boundaries to such an extent that I didn't even allow anyone to come close. I would be kind, but at a distance, right? So just think about it. Are you one of those people? Are you, genuinely kind, or are you kind of reserved in your kindness? I've got better over the years, as you know. I offer my kindness in so many different ways, and I got better and better and better, and I still practice up until today. Because remember, certain things are not part of our daily habits. And for years and years and years, we may have been another way. But once you start practicing it, and you practice it regularly, then it becomes natural to us. Now, the other way to express kindness, and I'm sure many, many of us experienced this over the past 2 years, was about staying connected. with people. Because what do most people want? They just want someone to check in on them, someone to just say hello, someone to say, I'm thinking about you. And no, you don't have to do it every single day to have that kind of effect on someone or to let someone know that they are valuable to you. Whether you do it once a week, once a month, whenever. But it's like having that connection. I guess we all want to feel that we matter. We all want to know that someone out there, doesn't matter who cares about us. And I guess for me, this is so important for us at this time when not many people can still travel around as freely as they could. I mean, yes, in South Africa, we can all go around, but when you think about other countries around the world, there may still be restrictions, there may still be limitations. So it's like just popping someone a message. Hey, we've got social media these days, so you can, and all these different platforms that you can connect on. And I guess that was why I started the Facebook Lives in 2020, and that was riding the waves of change because it was to let people know, to let all of you know that you're not alone, that we're all going through this together. And the best way for us to experience life, I always say, is not alone. It's when we can share that experience with others. So staying connected is one of the most beautiful ways to express kindness. Now, this is one of my favorite ones. Expressing kindness by being a positive light in the world, in your home, in your community, in your country. You send these high vibes out into the world. You see, when the rest of the world and the people around you are going into fear factor, you be there as this light. You be there as this guiding force. You be there as the voice of reason. You be there to show them the way through that darkness. Because there's so many people out there that don't know how to do this. And I know that if you're in this community and you're listening to my material, you are here to spread the light. And I recently shared some guidance from Eileen Caddy about letting the light go to all four corners of the earth. I just love that because that's who we are here to be, because that's what kindness really is about. When you have the light within you, share it with others. It's not about just keeping it for yourself because we're afraid, because then there is no light really. You see, those who have light to share know that there's an abundance of light. And that's the greatest expression of kindness, in my view, is to just shed that light every day. And how do you do that? Well, it's by being positive and not falsely positive, but it's about always knowing that even when something negative is happening, when there's a challenge, that there's on the other side, there is good. And that we all get through things, no matter how challenging the times may be. We'll all get through it at some point. And holding on to that faith, holding on to that belief is what pulls us through. It pulls us into the light. So if you're that person who can hold the light and really hold the light because you know the truth behind it, you know that the darkness is just an illusion, then do that for others. And it doesn't matter where it is, in your own home. And when I say be the light, it's don't go into other people's stories. Bring them into the light. When there's fear going on, fear mongering going around, don't go into it and participate in it. Just shed some light into it. Shed your love into spaces. Send light deliberately around you into those dark spaces. That's truly, truly magical. I'm sure you can feel it. Now, how often do you smile at others? This is another way of expressing kindness. Now, I live in a country where we love smiling at each other. Yes, even behind the masks. You can see when someone's smiling. You can see it in their eyes. And you can see when someone smiles at you and they're genuine about it. Because you see, the eyes don't lie. Smiling comes from the heart, it comes from within, and your whole being, your whole body shape shifts. So give someone a smile, a genuine smile. And like I say, I come from a country where we love smiling. We smile at anybody that we can see, whether we know you or we don't know you. That's just the beauty of being in South Africa. So wherever you are in the world, I've been to some of those countries where people are very reserved. And it's not that you are unfriendly, you just don't know that you can smile. So get some of that South African geest, that South African spirit, pull it through this channel and send it out into the world. Smile. Smile at everyone that you come across, and you'll see they may look at you oddly at first, but soon it will become contagious. And then everyone's smiling. Can you imagine what the world would be like if everyone was smiling? Whoa. I mean, seriously? You think there's going to be space for darkness? No. And smiling, you don't have to smile just because everything is good in your life. You must smile because you know the truth of who you are and what's really going on in your life, and that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. That's why we smile, not just because good things are going on. Now, complimenting others. How often do you compliment others? Because you see, very often, have you noticed that people will compliment you when you compliment them? And sometimes some people will compliment others in order to get a compliment. And we know we're talking here about authenticity and authentic complimenting of other people, not doing it to get a compliment, but they're genuinely finding something in someone. You know, someone may be able to write pretty well. Someone may wear something and they look stunning in it. Someone may be able to say something and they do it in a way that really makes you feel good. Someone may be able to draw something and it's so magnificent. Someone may be able to cook something and it's really, really good. So compliment others. It costs you nothing. A smile doesn't cost you anything. Compliments don't cost you anything. But what they do is brighten up someone else's day. And when you see that smile on someone else's face, do you know what happens? Well, automatically, everything around you brightens up. Right? Now, how often do you say thank you? And how often do you say, I am sorry? Those words can become elusive at times in our lives. But the more we say thank you, wow, people actually value that. And when you can say, you're sorry, I am sorry, it doesn't matter. It's not about being right, or it's not saying I'm wrong. But sometimes someone just wants to know that you care. And that's a great way to show that you care, you know. And it doesn't matter whether you win something or you don't win something, because we are so competitive at times that we forget that we could do something that could hurt someone else. Or we could unconsciously do something that hurts someone else. And it's just understanding that it may have hurt someone else. And just by us saying, I'm sorry, do you know we can dissolve world wars just by saying, I'm sorry? Yes. If people just did the simple things in life, like saying thank you and I'm sorry. We really can. But no, we have to hold on to our pride, and that's why we don't do it. So I'd like to hear when you practice that, how it goes for you. Now, the most important one as well is being kind to yourself. You see, like I started off this conversation, we've always we've always been taught how to be kind to others. But I'm sure that you've realized that these days we have to give to ourselves as well as to others. When we give to ourselves first, what we give to others becomes even more powerful, even more meaningful. Because you see, we're coming from a state where we're not depleting ourselves or robbing ourselves. We're coming from a place of fullness, of abundance. So when we're kind to ourselves, we're filling our own cup, we're filling our own container, we're filling ourselves. And then when we're giving to others, we're giving it from such an expanded space and place. So, what do you think is the effect of that? When we give to others from this expanded space and place, well, then it just multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. People wonder how you can give and give and give and still have so much to give. It's by first giving to yourself. It's by allowing yourself to receive. It's allowing yourself to receive kindness from others and being kind to yourself. Do you know that when we allow ourselves to receive from others, what a beautiful act of kindness that is to ourselves? When we allow someone to compliment us and we can truly receive that, it's very powerful. It really is. So practice that and let me know how it goes for you. So that's what I wanted to share with you today about kindness. I know that things may have been a bit wobbly for the first month of this year, but understanding that and knowing that you're in the right place at the right time, that you're doing everything you can right now, is a way for you to express that kindness to yourself. Expressing that kindness to yourself is how you speak to yourself, how you treat yourself. And like I say, while the rest of the world is go, 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 if you can just stop, stand where you are, be still, listen to your soul, not the noises outside. Listen to your soul and listen to what your soul wants you to do. That is true kindness. Because when you can do that for yourself, then you can do that for others. And remember what I said? When you can do for others from such an expanded, expansive state, magic starts happening in the world. And then, well, abundance just starts flowing to you, and you don't even know from where or how or what's going on. It really is as if magic is happening all around you. So are you ready? Are you ready to embody? Yes, we've come to the end of the month, but this is going to be piling on. We're going to be adding on layers because kindness wasn't just for January. We were practicing it in January and then we carry it through the rest of the year. Because imagine 12 months, 12 different qualities that we're going to be embodying this year. And we started with the most amazing one, kindness. Because this is the year of kindness. This is the year of kindness to ourselves and kindness to others. And watch what's going to start happening in the world. So I'd love to hear from you how you're practicing kindness and how it's going for you. And what is it that really, really lights you up when you get to experience kindness? And what lights you up when you get to express kindness to others? So, until next time, ciao for now.